Yeah, that would be a little rough for you. I think. What are you going to come in at UFC 135? Around 250?
Yeah, right around there. Like right now, I'm 255, and I still have like what's that? 9 days left or 8 days left. So, the last week is mostly cardio and conditioning, and just making sure my wind's there. And so I'll probably lose. And plus I fluctuate 5 to 8 pounds in a day anyway. So, probably right around 250.
You've been winning a lot of fights, so I don't think it's fair to say that you came out of nowhere, but your win over Struve at UFC 130 caught a lot of people by surprise, how emphatic the knockout was, how good you looked. And it was almost that night as I was watching you on the dais at the post-fight press conference thinking, well, another star is born, and that you had done a lot to enhance your career. What's been the fallout since that win? Has it really carried with you a lot?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made my manager's job a lot easier, so I might have to cut back their percentage a little bit because, they're hardly even working anymore. But, I'm just joking. But anyways, yeah, man, I mean, that win meant a lot for my career and it meant a lot to me also. Coming off that disappointing draw with Czech Congo, it's something that I just sat around on for 6.5 months training my butt off to get a crack at this guy, Stefan Struve. And, me and my coaches were all confident that I was going to go in there and win. And I pretty much knew I was going to finish him in the first round. It's just how I did it.
Well, how did you know? I mean, in other words, the fight game's pretty unpredictable. How do you know you're going to knock a guy out?
Well, I mean, especially within the first minute of the fight, I knew that he did not have enough power to even hurt me. I'd been in there with Czech Congo, and he hit me a couple of good times. Actually, one time he hit me in the ear. My ear was swollen for like 3 weeks or something like that. But I think it was like actually bleeding like on the inside. It was a weird thing. But once he hit me, I knew that I'd been hit a lot harder than that. And I knew that, it was time for me to just focus on my offense, not really worry about my defense so much with him, and just put everything out there and come out with the win.
And that knockout punch that you hit him with, that was the timing on that was perfect. Is that something that you can actually, I guess it was a Superman punch, right, that you work on in the gym, or is it something that just instinctively happens?
I mean, we work on the Superman punch in the gym. It's like we usually do a Superman punch, then we follow it up with something else. The Superman punch really isn't meant to knock somebody out. It's meant to set something up to deliver the knockout blow, to get them thinking like what's going to happen. But something that I noticed, and when I watched tape on them, is that when you would separate from him, anybody, when he was fighting Buentello, when he was fighting Morecraft really didn't give him any space, but all of his previous fights, anytime he would separate, he would try to hit you with that knee as you came in. So I knew that I was tall enough to not be really bothered by that knee if I was off the ground. So it was something that I was thinking about in my camp. We even joked around in the gym saying, "Oh yeah, watch this. There's going to be a Superman knockout punch," and it actually happened. And it was a great time.
That's Travis Browne, UFC. Huge heavyweight, 6'7", about 255, as he said. He's got a fight coming up at UFC 135. We didn't get to ask you, what'd you wind up doing with the bonus money from the knockout of the night?
Man, I ended up taking my kids out, spoiling them a little bit. They deserved it.
Did you go to Disneyland? You were talking about going to Disneyland?
We were thinking about it, but, I wanted to wait until they're a little bit older so they'd remember the experience. But we went to Hawaii for a little bit, visit some cousins and family and all that kind of stuff. So we had a little bit of fun with it and definitely spoiled my kids.
Those bonuses are nice, huh? We get to go to Hawaii. Little motivation.
Yeah, they change your life. I mean, definitely. And that's something that I was talking to Dana White after, and I was so thankful because it's really something that people really didn't understand how hard of a time I had to go through to get to that point. Coming off the Czech Congo fight, making $8,000 on my purse, plus the sponsorships. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't enough to last me 7 months. So my management really stepped up and helped me out so that I could keep training and just focus on my fight. And, that bonus money really paid off in a big way.
Well, they rewarded you with a slot on the pay-per-view, so you're going to be on the main 5 fights. How big a deal is that? And then size up the opponent.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you know, always being a part of the UFC card is great in general, but being on the main card is really where you get the exposure, you know. Like, my first fight was against James McSweeney, and I fought him. It was the first fight of the night, and there was, it was kind of funny, but there was maybe, I don't know, like 1,000 people in the crowd or something like that. That venue only holds like 5,000 or so some odd people. It's not a very big venue, but it was kind of awkward fighting in something that was kind of empty. So the main card, you know, you get all the television, you get everybody there that's there. You know, you can feel the crowd as you're walking out underneath your feet. You know, when I knocked him out, you could feel the cage shaking just from everybody, like, just jumping up and screaming, and it was a great experience.
So what do you know about Broughton?
He's a tough guy, and he's highly underrated, for sure. You know, people watch his tape, and they see kind of like a one-dimensional guy who just walks forward and you know, just kind of tries to throw down, and maybe, you know, if it goes to the ground, he has some decent jiu-jitsu, but, you know, really breaking apart or you know, taking his video apart and just checking it out, he really has good boxing, and he has good position. He knows how to take a beating, but then also dish it out in the middle of it. So, you know, this guy's a really tough guy. He's not a step down from Stefan Struve at all. His name is, but his skills are not. His ground game speaks for itself. He tapped out a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in his last fight, Vinicius Queiroz, and you know, he was able to survive an onslaught of strikes and ground game from him, and he came back to win that fight. So he's definitely not not somebody to sleep on. I'm not looking past him, and I'm going to enjoy this fight.
Travis, you had mentioned several times now that you would watch tape, broken down tape. You know, there's different fighters who are different ways. Some guys don't like to see tape at all of their opponent. Other ones spend a lot of time. Do you even watch when you're at home and kind of like, you know, run it on the DVR and sort of, you know, slow-mo it and see where you can take advantage of guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't like get caught up in watching it like every day. Because people change, and so when you watch too much tape, you get used to too many like tales or like certain things that they do that may lead to something. And who knows? I mean, he's had over a year to change up his game. You know what I mean? So who knows how much better his wrestling's got? Who knows how much better his striking and kickboxing's got? So I watch for little things, but in the end, you know, it's a fight and anything can happen. But I like watching a little bit of tape on my guys.
Hey, one last thing. I wanted to get this from you. We're covering the boxing down here at the MGM in Vegas. We're getting ready for Mayweather and Ortiz. And obviously the heavyweight division has had a rough run, at least with Americans. You know, the Klitschko's are awesome. From your experience, I mean, you chose to go into mixed martial arts. You had a good athletic background. Are big guys in the future in the U.S. going to think about boxing, or is it kind of like, hey, it's MMA or it's whatever, it's basketball, it's football?
You know, I think that there's still great money to be made in the boxing world, but honestly, I think at this point, MMA is growing so fast, and there's so much hype behind MMA. There's the UFC has done such a good job of putting together the show that they have, and you know, I think that more people are going to want to get into MMA because it's not just standing there getting punched. You know, people can use their athleticism to get in on somebody, to take them down, to throw a high kick, do a jumping knee, a Superman punch, whatever it is. It's just so much more exciting. You watch fighters like John Jones, you know, like and what he's brought to the MMA and the athleticism and what he's done. You know, fighters like Phil Davis. I mean, all, you know, NCAA champ, you know, for wrestling. You know, and it's just it's going to be a great time. You know, we have Brendan Schaub and Matt Mitrione and, you know, true athletes coming into the sport, and I think we're going to change it around.
Good job, Travis. Very good spot, and we'll see you next week in Denver. Good luck in the fight.
Hey guys, thank you so much, and you know, like I said, I wanted to thank my management and, you know, a couple of my sponsors, Famous being a big one, Muscle Farm, and thank you for UFC for putting on such a great show and getting me together with you guys.
Well, I'll see you next week, Travis. Thanks so much.